Hey everybody, Jeff here, your executive gardener. Thanks for joining me for another episode. So if you're looking for an episode where you learn something or something that you didn't know about gardening, this is not the episode. You can turn it off. All I'm going to do in this episode is show you what I'm growing for my fall and winter garden and show it off a little bit. I am so jealous of those that live in the northern part of the country, because you can grow tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of great stuff, summer garden plants during the summer, but we can't do it here. So it's been an extremely long summer here in Texas. So it's Halloween tomorrow night, and it is 87 degrees still during the day. Now we don't have the humidity, which is good, but the heat is still up there, and it gets to about 60, 65 at night, which means it's perfect tomato season and other things that we can grow. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my fall garden, how I'm preparing for my winter garden, and I'll give you a little bit of tour. And keep in mind, next weekend I'll show you the results of my Miracle-Gro versus organic compost finale, or actually the third episode. I'm going to do a fourth episode because I want to see what the tomatoes taste like. It's one thing to grow it, but I want to see what the taste is between organic and Miracle-Gro. And just as a reminder, I'm getting a lot of comments from people angry about Miracle-Gro. Keep in mind, this is my 12-year-old daughter's science project. She's comparing Miracle-Gro synthetic fertilizer versus compost. I myself always use organic fertilizer like compost, but it's an experiment. So I've gotten a lot of people shooting arrows at me. It's just an experiment, folks, for a 12-year-old 7th grade class. Lastly, watch at the very end. I went out to Halloween yesterday, dressed up a little bit. You can take a look at my costume at the very end of this as a bonus clip at the end of this video. Anyway, let me get behind the camera, show you what I'm growing here for my fall garden. So here's my side garden. I want to give you an update on what I'm doing here, what I'm growing here. It is almost November 1st, and this is the best time of year to garden here in Houston, Texas, especially for things like tomatoes. So I'm going to have a lot of good friends that I can hand out tomatoes to. So this is just one of my cherry tomato plants, and you see what I did here is I grew it in a fabric pot, okay, about a 3-gallon fabric pot, and I resourced my hydroponic thing, and it's actually worked really well because it's kept the pests. The pests don't have a way to get into the fabric pot, so it's actually worked out pretty good. But I'm going to have a big, you can see here's some beautiful shots of what some cherry tomatoes are coming up. And this thing, as you can see, is just going to be loaded. I mean, look at all those buds, okay? Loaded with cherry tomatoes. I would bet on this one plant I'll have 150, 200. Actually, that's probably a bit much, but 150, but they're everywhere. I actually had to top the plant off because it's got so many buds all over it. And you'll see right here, it's actually starting to lean over because it's got so many cherry tomatoes. There's a good shot of some there. And there, and they're just quite frankly all over the place. So what I did here was actually pretty interesting. I used my typical, you can watch my previous videos to find out what I put in here. It's all organic stuff, but I put a lot of NPK and some micronutrients in there, and I keep refeeding it every week with one of those seaweed type concoctions that smells really bad. That's worked out well. But anyway, I have that. I do have some kale growing there. I do have some zucchini as well. And this year I started growing this tomato plant at the request of one of the other YouTube gardeners called Rapunzel. And it's supposed to get these tomatoes that come down in long strings like Rapunzel's hair. And so that's going to be loaded. I do have a bigger beefsteak variety. It's kind of a cool picture there. You can see a tomato there. And just tomatoes everywhere that the eye can see. I do have some beans going here. I re-resourced my pots. I do have some Swiss chard in that. Broccoli right there. There's actually some squash. Another tomato plant. And then of course some lettuce there. So, I mean, just loaded with stuff. But here's actually, I love looking at tomatoes when they start to come in, but you'll see here some absolutely beautiful tomatoes starting to come in. Again, I planted this in the same type of pot, same nutrients,
But again, this thing is loaded with buds, and some beautiful tomatoes are starting to come in. So, as you know, we don't in Houston, Texas get frost until toward the end of the year, maybe December, January. So it's kind of a race against time. So hopefully we'll get plenty of tomatoes from all of our plants right here. But everything's growing very well. Currently it's 87 degrees during the day here in Houston, Texas, November 1st. It gets down to about 62 at night, so perfect weather for growing tomatoes. Let me show you some of the other stuff I'm growing in the fall-winter season. So in the spirit of resourcing hydroponic type pots, there's some lettuce growing there. We've got many different varieties. We've got some kale growing there. We've got 3 or 4 varieties of lettuce growing there, so everything's doing very well. The reason I grow so much lettuce is my daughter's got a rabbit, as you've seen from a previous episode, and the rabbit eats a ton of lettuce. It seems a waste to go to the store and buy it when you can grow it in your backyard. So now that it's starting to cool down some, it'll soon be in the 70s. Lettuce, it's a perfect time of year. And then some herbs we have growing here. Of course, we have onions in that pot. As you can see, there's a, let me get out of the shadow, a cucumber plant that is completely surrounded by bees that are doing their work. And I think we've gotten about 15 pickling cucumbers from that so far. So as we go along here, we've got tomatoes, of course, and I've done an episode on this before, but if you have not bought yourself a tower garden, this is the green stalk garden, you need to. It's just incredible. So if you take a look at this, we've got Swiss chard growing on top. All the way around it's Swiss chard. So, and the great thing about this is it turns. So you can see, you can keep all of the plants in the appropriate sunlight. But we've got some Swiss chard growing tremendously. We've got some radishes. Look at this kale. Beautiful. Kale growing. And we've got some onions planted in here. And again, more lettuce as well. So just, again, if you don't have a tower garden, I think you should get one. You're really missing out. And you'll see these beautiful romaine leaves that we have. We eat it and my rabbit eats it. But you know, one of the great things about the tower garden is, that I mentioned this before, is that you don't have to weed, which is great. And it makes it very difficult for pests to get into the tower garden. So I don't deal with the same issue. Sometimes you have some snails, but I don't have any of the other pests that most people have. So that's what we have growing here. I just wanted to give you an update what's growing in Houston, Texas in November 1st. Hope everybody's having a very good fall winter season. You're probably preparing for your crops as well. That is my fall winter garden update here from Houston, Texas. Hope everybody has a great one and a happy Halloween. Bye.
Hey everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. What's it to you anyway? Anyway, I'm getting ready to go to a Halloween party. Hope everybody has a happy Halloween around the world. Dress up, it's our time to be kids. Forget about it. Anyway, I've got my bling bling on. Got my rings, got my bling, got my watch. I got my two-tone shoes. I got my zoot suit, my cigars, and my hanky. And of course the fedora, you can't forget the fedora. Anyway, I want to wish everybody all around the world a very happy Halloween. Be safe and forget about it.